Hello, my name is Hunter, the movie reviewing pony, because when it comes to cinema, humans cannot be trusted. And before we get started today, I would like to publicly apologize for the video that half of you have probably been trying to translate. You know the one. The one with the Morse code and the SSTV transmission. Yes, sorry about that. The organization I work for tends to be a little bit on the cryptic side, given that, according to the government, we don't exist. Well, except our commander. Well, yeah, here's the message out to you guys. You don't need to be cryptic about this. I would have got what you meant if you said review Season 5. Oh, and on that note, we're reviewing Season 5. Well, the day finally arrived, the Season 5 premiere. You know what I'd like to know? How they keep reusing the same formula for a two-parter episode. And I think it should be addressed the fact that the channel was playing Runaway Rainbow immediately prior to this episode. What's going on, Discovery family? Apparently our new overlords don't know how things work around here. But as Silverquill pointed out, you could make a Mad Lib of how a two-parter episode works, and in fact, he actually did that! No, seriously, I filled one out. Check in the description. There's the link to the one I filled out and the template for when they do this again in the season finale. Regardless, everyone I talk to says that they absolutely love this episode, so I'm obliged to review it. On top of that, apparently they made a addition to my contract. Well, without further ado, let's start the review on the logical place to start reviewing Season 5, the season premiere. Cutie Markless. Parts 1 and 2. So the episode opens up and we get Twilight's big stupid castle. Yeah, that's right, Princess Twilight, I called your castle stupid. Do you have any idea what that thing has done to the real estate around here? Let's just say no one wants to live next to something that reflects all of the light in the frickin' universe. So Twilight and her friends are hanging out in the big crystal throne room. Oh yeah, and Spike is there too. You stupid little dragon. But as is normal with these two-part episodes, Twilight is worried about something.
Castle in Ponyville. It doesn't make any sense.
And then the exposition happens. As the main six sit down on their respective thrones, a map emerges in the center of the room.
Is that new? I like it.
I hate you, Spike. After that, we get our opening title sequence. You know how it goes, it's something about friendship, and then something about magic, and Celestia sits on her ass all day. Anyway, our main characters are amazed by this map, which Spike then proceeds to walk all over. Oh, Spike, the longer you're on camera, the more I seem to hate you.
Hi, Mom and Dad!
That's just helping my case. Anyway, then all their cutie marks do a thing. 'Cause apparently they can do that now. And they're pointing to some random point in Equestria. Twilight decides that this means something. We must go. And of course, the rest of the main cast agrees to go along with her. Except for Spike.
Awesome! Me and Big Mac have a huge weekend ahead of us talking hoofball and trading hoofball cards and arguing about hoofball stats.
You know, it's interesting how much he likes sports, considering he ruined the Equestria Games episode. I don't think I need to remind everyone that the name of that episode was in fact Equestria Games, not Spike Screws Around in the Crystal Empire. If I wanted to watch an episode called Spike Screws Around in the Crystal Empire, I would have a CAT scan to look for a tumor pressing on the cognitive processing centers of my brain. You may realize that I hate Spike to an amazing degree. Though thankfully for this episode, we're leaving him behind? I never doubted you for a second, Emily Larson! I knew you could do it! Finally! But on another note, let me get this straight. We started with the Tree of Harmony, which produced the elements of harmony, and then after it gave them back the elements of harmony, it's like, hey, thanks, here's a box. And then, through some weird turn of events during Season 4, we find the keys to said box, which then doesn't even open anything, which gives like a coupon to like Starbucks or something, which is what I actually would have liked to happen, because, anyway, but then that for some reason conveniently makes Twilight a new house after her house exploded. And then the house is like, okay, here's a map, this is all the people who are having trouble with friendship. Even anime doesn't have convoluted stuff like this. Anyway, the group get on a rather 3D looking train, which to be fair doesn't look nearly as 3D as a Timberwolf. Actually, here's what I want to know. Why would a train take them all the way out to the middle of nowhere where there's absolutely no station? Why would the train even have need to go out there? And for that matter, does this new role that Twilight has include travel expenses? Because from what we can tell, Twilight still has no, like, actual form of income. In the last episode, we watched her library literally explode. So she's clearly not making any income off of that anymore. Also, the insurance policy didn't cover, quote, demigods shooting lasers at it. I have access to those records. So as far as I can tell, she's paying for all of this out of pocket. Anyway, the main six then come across this tiny town. A tiny town which is full of people who are all fucked up and creepy.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I know Smiles, and those Smiles, they're just not right.
I don't blame you, Pinky. The Ministry's been keeping an eye on that village for years. But probably the weirdest part is that everybody's cutie mark is the same. Well, there's nothing weird about that. You want to know what's going on there? I'll tell you what's going on there. Communism! It's completely obvious! So after the commercial break, the main six decide to walk into this town. And it's just as creepy as you'd expect.
Welcome.
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 Come play with us, Twilight. Forever and ever and ever.
Welcome.
Okay, shut up. After quite possibly the creepiest introduction to this town, we get introduced to two characters named Double Diamond and Party Favor, who are two of the only relevant characters here. And then we're introduced to Starlight Glimmer, who has a stupidly similar color palette to Arya Blaze from Rainbow Rocks. Also, her name sounds like she should be a cousin of Sunset Shimmer. She goes into detail of the fact that cutie marks are the spawn of Satan, and that equality is the only way that ponies will be able to get along. You know, there was another group that thought the same way. They were called communists! After that, we get a song. It's pretty okay, but it's just another reminder that this is a communist society. But see, if Starlight Glimmer really wanted there to be equality, she would have painted everyone the same color. Oh, by the way, Fluttershy's the only one in the group that seems to be liking this communist society. But then Starlight says, why don't you try and enjoy our communist society and see what you think for yourselves? Cause something tells me that tourism isn't exactly popular out there in that quarter of Equestria.
They'll finally understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Subtle. Real subtle. Anyway, an indeterminate amount of time passes, and they stop to grab something to eat. This character sees our main cast arguing and finds it fascinating how they managed to come to an agreement in the end. More on that later.
My name is Sugar Belle. What can I bring you? We have muffins.
See, now I know there's something wrong. There is no derpy within a 100-mile radius as of right now, and it's already been 3 seconds.
Muffin?
No! How does she keep getting in here? Oh, by the way, apparently the muffins suck.
Come inside before you go. Meet me downstairs.
Which in the next scene, they proceed to do.
Why did you want us to come down here? So no pony could see what's about to happen.
It's a rape dungeon! Nah, I'm kidding. There's just 3 characters down here that all want to admire their sense of individuality. Honestly, this whole scene just kinda seems useless. Sure, the characters are relevant, but the scene isn't relevant. Sure, it adds a bit of exposition that some of the people in this town don't agree with the fact that all of their cutie marks have been taken away, but there's like 10 million better ways they could have done this. Honestly, the only reason I can see that this scene exists is to reveal the cutie mark vault. And again, there's 10 million better ways they could have done that. And no, it's not even one of those big fancy Fallout ones that I was hoping it was gonna be. Because then I would have made like 10 million Fallout Equestria references. Oh, you better believe I would have. Why are you looking at me like that? I read your fanfics, so what? So Starlight Glimmer takes over as our tour guide and leads them to the Cutie Mark Vault. And I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more out of this than just a simple wall. How about a hallway? Or a rotundra? Or something, I don't know. A gazebo would have been more interesting.
And here is the Staff of Sameness. It was one of the great Mage Meadowbrook's 9 enchanted items. We are incredibly fortunate to have it here. This is the tool that allows us to free ourselves from our marks.
Oh yeah, it also involves a ceremony with a bit of pig's blood involved, but we don't talk about that part, though. But it turns out that this whole thing, it's a trap!
It's a trap!
It's a trap!
And if you were expecting a big fight scene to come out of this, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Starlight Glimmer just proceeds to steal all their cutie marks, because apparently those are a removable object now. Here's what I want to know. These 6 are able to take down an army of changelings in the Season 2 finale, yet they can't take down a bunch of ponies? Seriously, there's 17 of them, I just counted! Oh yeah, and Starlight Glimmer does the usual ha-ha, I'm a dick speech. Yeah, I've gotten used to it by now. I've been watching a lot of anime and a lot of fucking villains go through that. And hey, I'm not knocking it because it's a very good way for you to hate the villain, and that's a pretty good thing. And that's when we get our to be continued. So, just to do a quick sum up of the first half of this 2-parter, Twilight's Castle is stupid, there's some weird map that points out all the friendship stuff, they go to a town that's full of communists, and then they get their cutie mark stolen in a trap. Did I forget anything? Oh, right! They forgot about Spike. He's not in this episode. Yay! Part 2 opens with the main 6 locked in a house which has propaganda being piped in through loudspeakers.
You like ice cream. You like ice cream. You love it.
You know, there was another group of people who did the same thing. They were called communists! Also, are you seriously telling me that Dash can't break down that door? This is the same character that was able to do this. And walk away completely unscathed. Upon closer examination, it turns out the magic used also zaps them of their powers and physical abilities. Which never was explained. It was also never mentioned.
Look at those drapes! I have no idea if they're tacky or not.
And apparently it removes various fascists. Okay, I'm just gonna label this as I don't know how the fuck this works. Oh yeah, it also removed Fluttershy's ability to talk to animals. The only way I could possibly think that it would work is that it literally removes their special talent. Unfortunately, Spike doesn't have a special talent, so we can't remove his talent of being annoying. Anyway, it takes Twilight what seems like hours to come up with a plan. And as a member of the Ministry of Strategic Services, I can see 20 ways for you to get out of that room, 2 of which involve bread. And before you go nuts, espionage is not my special talent, I'm just really freaking good at it. Ergo, you can't stop me! So Twilight finally comes up with a plan. Sends someone in to pretend to join their communist society. Who is it, you may ask?
Me?
Yes, you. Go join the communists. The next day, the entire town shows up to see if the conversion process worked. Quite obviously, it did not. So they go back in to listen to more propaganda. Oh, except for Fluttershy.
I'd like to join.
Fluttershy? How could you?
Wow, not even Tara frickin' Strong could make that sound convincing. But before they do anything, Starlight Glimmer wants her to sell out the three that led them into the basement and admired their cutie marks and individuality. Which still seems entirely unnecessary. In fact, I think they're just doing this for filler. Actually, it was to keep the suspense after the commercial break.
It was me! It was only me!
And that managed to resolve itself in less than 2 minutes. So the one pony who gave himself away ends up going in to listen to propaganda. And then he makes horn-stabbing canon! But to be fair, a couple of my friends did that during the war. Moving on! Later that night, Fluttershy sneaks out the chimney. She then oversees that the main six's cutie marks have been moved to Starlight's house. Why exactly? I have no idea.
I just want to keep them close until everything is settled.
It's lame. Your answer's lame. I don't like your answer. Honestly, that's a writer's cop-out way of saying we don't know why they moved them here. I'm not knocking the show's writing team, but that was pretty frickin' lazy. Anyway, after this, Starlight accidentally spills water on herself, and Fluttershy discovers that she still has her cutie mark. Yes, painting the character is even more of a jerk than before. The solution is now simple. Oh yeah, what's-his-face is let out of the propaganda house, and it's never really explained why. But anyway, that solution I talked about. Yeah, Fluttershy spills a bunch of water on, Starlight. All the communists are horrified at this development and decide to turn against her. And I have to say, of all the antagonists this show has had, this one's probably the most pissed off at losing. Oh, and I love her explanation for what the staff actually is.
The staff is a piece of wood I found in the desert.
That is a really amazingly well-shaped stick for something that you found in the desert. Of course, there's the possibility that she whittled it into that shape, but I like to imagine that she literally just found it like that. That's a pretty amazing shaped stick. Oh yeah, she gets so pissed off that she straight up does this.
Every pony has unique talents and gifts. And when we share them with each other, that's how
Quiet!
Starlight Glimmer, the only antagonist that can interrupt Twilight's messages of friendship! Anyway, the town populace declare revolution and the antagonist escapes. After locking herself in her house, they all run off to get her cutie marks. But wait, the main six's cutie marks are with Starlight. Proving that once again, the only reason that Starlight has their cutie marks is to increase the length of the episode. Oh, by the way, everyone else gets their cutie marks, and some of these look like OCs. Starlight Glimmer proceeds to take their cutie marks into a secret passage that she just happens to have underneath her bed. Why? And then we have to let the characters that we barely know do all of the work. Also, what the heck is Applejack doing in this scene?
And I'll go into people's houses at night and wreck up the place.
Unfortunately, Starlight Glimmer did not put the bed back to cover up the hole in the floor. This is like the first rule of sneaking around, don't leave any evidence. But it turns out that she ran all the way outside and was running towards the conveniently placed mountain range that was right next to town. Also, balloon-oculars. I'm calling bullshit on that. So now we have to rely on these 4 ponies that we barely know rather than the usual main 6 that we've known and loved for 4 seasons now. Normally I'd be okay with this if we were to see these characters again, but given the show's writing style, chances are we will not. Also, it's never really explained what her obsession is with these 6 particular cutie marks. All we know is that she's hell-bent on not giving them up. No explanation as to why, though.
I can't believe we have to count on these other ponies to save our cutie marks.
My God, Rainbow Dash is saying what the entire audience is thinking right now. Usually that's Pinky's job.
If we hadn't come here to help them, they'd still be living under her rules. Now it's their turn to help us.
No, I don't like it. That's lame. Then what's-her-face, this character throws a pie at her, which breaks her wagon. Damn it, that's a very strong bit of snow that you picked up. Starlight then uses a laser to blow up the bridge. I don't care anymore. Oh yeah, then we get another convenient plot point.
Whoa! These are my old skis! This is where I first met Starlight!
He then uses these skis to cause an avalanche because that's not how snow works. And then the bottles break and the main 6's cutie marks fly back to them like homing missiles. Starlight decides this shall not stand and decides that she wants to shoot lasers at people, but Twilight blocks it with a shield. You know, just once I'd like to see a horn laser hit someone. Not during the war. Moving on! This villain decides that she doesn't want to learn a lesson from Twilight for a change. So instead, she just escapes into the caves.
We'll never find her in there!
We just have to hope that when she's had a chance to think it over, she realizes that you all have taught her something.
Let's just put her in the bin of recyclable villains. Right in between Queen CHRYSALIS and Gilda. You know, villains that we'll probably never see again. Then the main 6 have a hug, and it's adorable, I guess. And the entire town throws a party, and we get to take down all of our surveillance equipment, and the credits roll. So what's the final verdict on this? It's good, but it sucks a little bit. Most of the main 6 was pretty useless throughout this whole episode, and I did say most. Some of the main cast did have their moments. Also, I didn't like the villain this time around. She wasn't very well developed, and she's just a recolor of Aria Blaze. Not to mention they just sorta threw her into the bin of reusable villains. Also, her motives are very highly questionable. Also, some of the scenes in this episode seemed rather pointless or unnecessary. And the whole Twilight is the Princess of Friendship thing is a little convoluted as of now. For example, Celestia didn't come in and explain everything, so we're just making this stuff up as we go on at this point. But as a whole, it's nothing that I'd lash out on Twitter about. Well, except one very major flaw that I noticed in this episode. And that would be this. So is Rainbow Dash a giraffe now, and nobody bothered to tell me? Good God, I can see the fan art rolling out now. Rainbow Giraffe! But as a whole, this was a pretty good season opener. Certainly not the best, that title still goes to the Season 2 opener. But it's certainly not the worst, which goes to Season 3. Overall, pretty good start to the season. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. In fact, huh? What?
You know we're doing the same thing next week, right?
Wait, what do you mean we're doing the same thing next week?
Yeah, get off the phone with the hair off the thing, gotta do the whole season.
What do you mean I have to do the whole season?
I don't know, it's something involving squirrels, hexes, and there's fucking a pig's blood involved.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's okay, Greg. I know what they're talking about. Well, seeing as how I'm stuck here reviewing the entire season, I guess I'll see you guys next week. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.